families, creating a lifetime of memories. Sadly, some families are denied these important moments due to the sad practice of alienation. These are families divided.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Families Divided TV. Narcissistic abuse is a form of emotional manipulation and psychological control executed by individuals with narcissistic personality disorder. These parents prioritize their own needs, seeking validation and admiration from their children while offering limited empathy or support in return. The children of narcissistic parents often find themselves entangled in a web of gaslighting, manipulation, and emotional neglect, where their every action is scrutinized for compliance with the parents' expectations. In the realm of family dynamics, love should flow naturally and unconditionally. However, for individuals with narcissistic parents, the path to receiving love is paved with challenges and conditions. Conditional love, a cornerstone of narcissistic parenting, takes a significant toll on children striving to meet their parents' ever-changing expectations. The love offered by narcissistic parents is contingent on the child's compliance with their demands, achievements that reflect positively on the parent, or behaviors that uphold the parent's grandiose self-image. This conditional affection creates a turbulent emotional landscape for children where love becomes a transaction rather than a nurturing bond. This is a great episode, and it really is going to be very helpful and reaches out to many people going through this. This is Randi Fine, who is an expert in narcissistic behavior, and she's going to present this to us. And she'll be right back with us right after we have this important message.
Divorce and co-parenting are a major life interruption for families, especially the kids, but also for parents and grandparents. And it's even worse in blame-filled, high-conflict cases. When parents engage in alienation by turning the kids against the other parent or grandparents, kids suffer. They're denied the opportunity to build the 4 big skills necessary for future resilience. New Ways for Families online class can help. Parents learn to use our popular BIF and EAR skills to calm the conflict and stop the hostile emails and texts. And we even have a class for kids and parents to learn together. Research shows a 75% improvement in joint parental decision-making after this course is taken, plus overall improvements for kids' well-being. Don't wait to make this affordable investment in your children's future and improve your well-being too. Start learning new ways for your family today at conflictplaybook.com.
Thank you for joining me today for this Families Divided TV segment. My name is Randi Fine, and I am a narcissistic abuse expert and recovery coach. Today I'll be discussing the emotional toll taken on children who, just by the nature of being born into a particular family, must navigate their young life under the complex, convoluted, confusing, and tyrannical behavior of a narcissistic parent. In the journey of life, our relationship with our parents plays a crucial role in shaping who we become. But for some individuals, this relationship can be a source of immense stress and emotional turmoil, especially when dealing with narcissistic parents. The need for parental love and approval is something we all feel, but with narcissistic parents, it can become a never-ending struggle for validation, as they typically only accept children who are compliant. Narcissistic parenting is characterized by self-centered behavior, emotional manipulation, and a lack of empathy toward the child's needs and feelings. Children raised by narcissistic parents often find themselves walking on eggshells, striving to meet unrealistic expectations and seeking validation that is rarely available. Constant criticism, gaslighting, and emotional neglect become the norm, distorting the child's perception, self-worth, and identity. The children of narcissistic parents endure high levels of abuse that leave them feeling terrified, rejected, isolated, and abandoned. They are raised in emotionally unstable environments and lack the essential support needed for healthy self-esteem, autonomy, and individuality. Life at home for these children is loveless, chaotic, confusing, volatile, and unpredictable. Boundaries that allow for a separate and individual self are forbidden in this toxic family system, as they undermine the extreme control that their narcissistic parents relentlessly maintain. Narcissistic parents have an insatiable need for admiration and control, often prioritizing their own needs over their children's emotional well-being. In these family settings, children are conditioned to prioritize their parents' happiness and expectation above their own, creating a dynamic where compliance is rewarded and individuality is suppressed. The children of narcissistic parents endure high levels of abuse that leave them feeling terrified, rejected, isolated, and abandoned. They are raised in emotionally unstable environments and lack the essential support needed for healthy self-esteem, autonomy, and individuality. When it comes to narcissistic parental abuse, the trouble often begins, believe it or not, in infancy. At this very early stage, narcissistic parents mold their innocent children into compliant beings, creating a tangled mess of emotional scars that can linger for years. The artfulness of these manipulations can be extreme, impacting a child's emotional and psychological development in ways that might not be obvious. Imagine a newborn cradled in its parents' arms, eyes filled with wonder and innocence, completely at the mercy of those who are meant to nurture and protect it. With a narcissistic parent in the picture, that dream scenario crumbles, and the child turns into just a reflection of the parent's own wants and desires. The infant's cries for attention and comfort are met with indifference or self-serving responses, planting the seeds of confusion and emotional deprivation from the earliest stages of life. The impact of such parental behavior goes beyond the superficial, penetrating deep into the psyche of the child, shaping their identity, beliefs, and relationships in profound ways. From the moment a child draws its first breath, the narcissistic parent exerts his or her influence, subtly yet unmistakably. Infants, with their malleable minds and open hearts, soak up the world around them like a sponge. And in the case of a narcissistic parent, what they absorb is a distorted sense of reality, where the needs, desires, and whims of that parent reign supreme. Living in a family with a narcissistic parent is like being part of a scripted show where the balance of power swings between control and submission. Narcissistic parents often wear a mask of love and care, a cleverly constructed work of art designed to deceive not only those around them, but also their own children, creating a loving image to hide their real intentions. This facade can be confusing for a child who may grow up believing that the manipulative behaviors exhibited by their parents are acts of love. These parents are proficient at portraying an image of warmth and care, showering their children with gifts and praise when it serves their agenda. For a child, this carefully constructed facade can be both bewildering and distressing, blurring the lines between genuine love and manipulative tactics. Children raised by narcissistic parents often find themselves caught in a web of confusion, their young minds struggling to reconcile the conflicting behaviors that they witness. One moment they're showered with affection and attention, and the next, they're subject to harsh criticism and emotional manipulation. This roller coaster of emotions can leave a lasting impact on a child's psyche, instilling a sense of doubt and insecurity that often lingers into adulthood. Picture a scenario where a child expresses sadness or frustration over a situation. Instead of validating their emotions or offering comfort, a narcissistic parent might resort to subtle yet damaging tactics of gaslighting. They may dismiss the child's feelings, diminish the significance of their emotions, or even go as far as twisting the narrative to portray the child as oversensitive or unreasonable. Over time, these insidious tactics chip away at the child's confidence in their emotional responses, leading them to internalize the belief that their feelings are invalid. Through subtle gaslighting techniques, narcissistic parents invalidate their children's emotions, manipulating them into questioning their own feelings. This can lead to a sense of confusion and self-doubt, with the child ultimately seeking validation from their very source of manipulation. What makes gaslighting so harmful is its knack for creating self-doubt in a child's mind. When a child regularly encounters replies that invalidate their emotions, they can start to second-guess whether their feelings are genuine. This internal conflict can manifest in various ways, from anxiety and depression to a pervasive sense of confusion regarding his or her emotions. The child learns to second-guess themselves, to suppress their genuine emotional responses, and to prioritize the portrayals imposed by the narcissistic parent. As the child grows, these ingrained patterns of self-doubt and invalidation can profoundly influence their relationships, decision-making processes, and overall mental health. The scars left by gaslighting run deep, shaping the very core of the child's self-perception and emotional resilience. From a young age, children of narcissistic parents learn to tiptoe around emotional landmines, never knowing when the next explosion might occur. Narcissistic parents, consumed by their own needs and desires, tend to overshadow their children, leaving little room for individual growth and autonomy. The understanding of boundaries is unclear, lost in the dominance of their parents' egos. Narcissistic parents are masters of manipulation, expertly weaving a web of control and guilt around their children. What may seem like innocent gestures or displays of affection often come tinged with a sense of expectation and obligation. Children raised in such environments struggle to distinguish between genuine care and understated coercion, further complicating the already murky waters of boundaries. Boundaries are essential for healthy relationships, yet narcissistic parents blur these lines from early on. They may intrude on a child's personal space, emotions, and thoughts, eroding the child's sense of self and autonomy. As children of narcissistic parents grow into adulthood, the journey of setting and enforcing boundaries becomes a challenging and uncomfortable task. The fear of backlash, rejection, or abandonment is difficult to ignore, making it challenging to assert one's needs and desires. Learning to navigate this emotional minefield requires courage, self-awareness, and a deep understanding of one's worth outside the darkness of parental narcissism. Children of narcissistic parents are often subjected to unrealistic standards of behavior, success, and achievement. Every aspect of their lives is closely inspected, with any deviation from the prescribed path met with harsh criticism and emotional manipulation. In this environment, children learn that their worth is dependent upon their ability to meet these unattainable expectations. perfection becomes the unattainable goal set by narcissistic parents. Children are conditioned to seek approval through achievement and conformity, apprehensive about the failure from the fallout of failing to meet these unrealistic expectations. The relentless pursuit of perfection instilled by narcissistic parents can have profound effects on a child's emotional and psychological well-being. Constantly seeking approval through achievement and conformity, children internalize the belief that their worth is tied to their performance, leading to feelings of inadequacy and anxiety. Also, the fear of falling short of their parents' expectations creates a perpetual cycle of stress and pressure, hindering the development of a healthy sense of self and autonomy. Manipulation through guilt and emotional blackmail is a common tactic employed by narcissistic parents. Children are made to feel responsible for their parents' happiness, leading to a cycle of manipulation and emotional turmoil. Narcissistic emotional blackmail is a form of psychological manipulation where a parent or caregiver uses emotional pressure, guilt, or intimidation to control the thoughts, feelings, and actions of a child. This toxic behavior stems from a sense of entitlement and a need for constant admiration, leading that parent to exploit the vulnerability of the child for their own gratification. Children learn earlier on that their worth is contingent upon meeting the insatiable demands of their parent. Compliance becomes not just a choice, but a survival mechanism ingrained through years of conditioning. Another common tactic is love withdrawal. In this form of emotional manipulation, the parent threatens to withhold affection, attention, or support unless the child complies with their demands. This creates a sense of fear and insecurity in the child, conditioning them to prioritize the manipulator's needs over their own well-being. At the core of narcissistic love withdrawal is a lack of empathy towards the child's emotional needs. Narcissistic parents often prioritize their own desires and demands over the emotional well-being of their children, creating an environment where love is conditional and fleeting. The constant fear of rejection and abandonment can leave children in a state of perpetual anxiety, unsure of when the next emotional blow will come. The effects of narcissistic love withdrawal can manifest in a myriad of ways, impacting not just the present, but also the child's future. Research suggests that children who experience emotional neglect may be at a higher risk for developing mental health disorders, such as depression, anxiety, and even the development of personality disorders in adulthood. The scars left by narcissistic love withdrawal may run deep, affecting how individuals view themselves and relate to others throughout their lives. As the child grows, the subtle manipulations of the narcissistic parent intensify. Every accomplishment, every emotion, every experience is filtered through the lens of the parent's ego. The lines between the child's individuality and the expectations of the narcissistic parent blur, often disappearing altogether. Every move, every decision becomes a reflection of the parent's desires, leading to a life lived not for oneself, but for the approval of another. In the realm of family dynamics, love should flow naturally and unconditionally. However, for individuals with narcissistic parents, the path to recovering love is paved with challenges and conditions. This dynamic can be confusing for children because their narcissistic parents may occasionally demonstrate kindness. However, this kindness usually comes with strings attached, leading children to deny the harsh reality of their situation and repeatedly buy into the deception. The painful truth about their parents is often too difficult for children to accept, so they continue to seek love in the only way they know how. Parents with narcissistic personality disorder prioritize their own needs, seeking validation and admiration from their children, while offering limited empathy or support in return. The children of narcissistic parents often find themselves entangled in a web of gaslighting, manipulation, and emotional neglect, where their every action is scrutinized for compliance with the parents' expectations. Conditional love, a cornerstone of narcissistic parenting, exacts a heavy toll on children striving to meet their parents' ever-changing expectations. The love offered by narcissistic parents is contingent on the child's compliance with their demands, achievements that reflect positively on the parent, or behaviors that uphold the parent's grandiose self-image. This conditional affection creates a turbulent emotional landscape for children, where love becomes a transaction rather than a nurturing bond. Envision a child yearning for affection, looking for reassurance from a caregiver who should always be there for support. Instead, the child is met with a distorted reflection of love, one that demands perfection for crumbs of approval, manipulates the child's feelings with an insecure hug or an insincere hug, and sets up a series of expectations around every caring gesture. This is the guise of narcissistic conditional love, where a parent's affection is entwined with unrealistic expectations, emotional manipulation, and a relentless pursuit of control. Living under the shadows of narcissistic parenting can have profound effects on a child's self-esteem and identity formation. To navigate the tumultuous waters of narcissistic parenting, children often develop coping mechanisms such as people-pleasing, perfectionism, repression of feelings, emotional wall building, dissociation, or withdrawing to protect themselves from emotional harm. Some children begin exhibiting bullying behaviors, possibly indicating the budding development of the narcissistic false self. While these strategies may provide temporary relief, they can also perpetuate maladaptive patterns in adulthood, affecting relationships, self-esteem, and mental well-being. Identity formation is a crucial aspect of childhood development, and narcissistic parenting can significantly impede this process. Children raised by narcissistic parents often struggle to form a cohesive sense of self as they form their identities around the desires and expectations of their parents. The lack of autonomy and independence in decision-making can hinder the development of a strong and authentic identity. One of the most significant repercussions of narcissistic parenting is the erosion of the child's self-worth. Growing up in an environment where love and acceptance are conditional based on achievements or compliance can shatter a child's self-esteem. Constantly seeking approval and validation from emotionally unavailable parents can lead to feelings of inadequacy, unworthiness, and self-doubt. Children struggle to trust their own instincts and judgments, perpetuating a cycle of dependence that is very hard to break. When a child is caught in the clutches of narcissistic conditional love, they often struggle to understand the conditions placed upon their affection. Struggling to navigate between the conflicting currents of unattainable expectations and emotional volatility, the child's sense of self becomes fractured. Where love should be a sanctuary, it becomes a battleground of uncertainty and fear, leaving unseen wounds imprinted deeply in their mind. To survive an environment where only compliant behavior is accepted, children of narcissistic parents always learn to wear a mask of outward obedience while burying their true thoughts and emotions deep within. This facade of compliance becomes a coping mechanism, a survival strategy to navigate the unpredictable emotional landscape created by their parents. The pressure to please narcissistic parents can manifest in various ways, from excelling academically or professionally to conforming to their parents' expectations in every aspect of life. Unconsciously, children become adept at suppressing their true selves in favor of maintaining the illusion of harmony within the family unit. The repercussions of narcissistic conditional love extend far beyond childhood, shaping the lens through which individuals view themselves and the world. In an environment of caring that is contingent upon certain factors, the seeds of doubt, anxiety, and perfectionism take root and blossom as we transition into adulthood, manifesting in relationships, self-images, and life choices. The struggle to assert their own needs and boundaries perpetuates a cycle of toxic codependency that continues through adulthood. In the context of parental alienation, a term that resonates powerfully within the realm of family dynamics, the love offered by the alienating parent may be predicated on the child's compliance with their narrative, loyalty above all else, or rejection of the other parent. This is a vulnerable form of love that is reliant on the fulfillment of certain expectations or demands. An intricate set of rules governing the conditions for the receipt and maintenance of the parent's love is cloaked in a smokescreen of concern and safety. In this tormenting emotional situation, children often feel caught between wanting to be accepted and authentically expressing their feelings and needs. As children experience the damaging effects of conditional love in parental alienation, they struggle emotionally between divided loyalties and unspoken truths. The pressure to conform to the alienating parent's expectations can distort their sense of self and identity, leading to a profound and tortuous internal conflict. While the alienating parent may utilize the power of conditional love to manipulate the child's perceptions and beliefs, the child remains caught in a web of loyalty and guilt. The fear of abandonment or rejection can drive them to repress their true feelings, perpetuating a cycle of emotional suppression and internal turmoil. At the center of every parent-child relationship is a strong bond developed through love and care. So when this connection is strained or severed due to alienation, the toll it takes on parents is profound. It's quite easy to be swayed by feelings of rejection, self-blame, and despair when a child refuses to engage or associate with a parent. Yet, it's during these challenging times that understanding the complex dynamics of parental alienation that are at play becomes imperative. Alienation, a painful reality that some parents face, where their children distance themselves emotionally and physically, is a heart-wrenching experience that can evoke feelings of confusion, hurt, anger, and even resentment in parents. However, amidst the whirlwind of emotions, it is vital for alienated parents to approach the situation with understanding and empathy toward their rejecting children. While alienated parents grapple with their own pain, it's essential to consider the perspective of the rejecting children. Their rejection may stem from a myriad of factors like parental influence, fear, or a strategy for managing internal conflict. For those reasons, fostering empathy towards the rejecting children can pave the way for a better understanding of their behavior. By understanding the hidden aspects of narcissistic conditional love, the roots of mistrust and separation affecting alienated parents and their children become clearer. Empathy and compassion under the constraints of parental alienation are not signs of weakness, but of strength. By extending compassion toward their rejecting children, alienated parents can create a safe space in hopes for dialogue and possible reconciliation. Acknowledging the pain and struggles of both parties involved can one day foster a platform for mutual healing and growth. Through compassion and understanding, bridges may one day be built where walls once stood, leading to the restoration of trust and connection between parent and child. Unconditional love serves as a light of hope and healing. It moves past expectations and provides a nurturing space of acceptance and support on which to build a secure attachment. In the journey of life, wounds are invisible. Some wounds are invisible, yet they run deep, affecting every fiber of one's existence. The emotional damage from narcissistic parents can be subtle and hard to notice. Unlike physical scars that show past battles, these hidden wounds stay beneath the surface, always affecting the survivor's mind. For adult children who have experienced narcissistic abuse at the hands of their parents, the scars left behind are often uncharted territories of pain and emotional turmoil. Growing up in an environment rampant with emotional manipulation and conditional love leaves a lasting impact on their sense of self-worth and identity. The constant need to prove their love and worthiness to their narcissistic parents creates a cycle of self-doubt, anxiety, and low self-esteem that reverberates through their adult lives, coloring their perceptions and influencing their interactions with the world. The emotional wounds inflicted during childhood continue to haunt them, manifesting in patterns of self-sabotage, insecurity, and a pervasive fear of danger, even when in safe conditions. Adult children raised in an environment permeated with narcissistic behavior often learn to wear masks of normalcy to navigate the choppy waters of their upbringing. Behind the facade of smiles and composure lies a world of turmoil and self-doubt, a reality shaped by the constant need for validation that was never fulfilled. That makes them highly vulnerable to other predatory people. Despite the invisible wounds they carry, adult children of narcissistic abuse demonstrate remarkable resilience and strength in the face of adversity. It is through their courage and perseverance that they pave the way for healing, growth, and the reclaiming of their authentic selves. The silent struggles of adult children with narcissistic parents creates a complex story. It's one of pain, resilience, and eventual success. This journey involves reclaiming their voice, altering their narrative, and embracing the path to healing and completeness. The insidious nature of narcissistic parenting may lurk in the shadows, but shedding light on this subtle tyranny is the first step towards empowering those who have been unseen for far too long. Through self-compassion, specialized therapy, and a conscious choice to break free from the chains of conditional love, adults can reclaim their narrative, rewrite their reality, and nurture genuine connections based on mutual respect and love. The road to recovery can be rough, but the result is a beautiful mix of freedom and the discovery of one's true self. In a world where the pain of narcissistic conditional love often stays hidden, it's crucial to bring awareness to this issue and provide comfort to those affected. We can't ignore the impact of these invisible scars, as they show the resilience and strength of those who face their past and work towards a brighter path ahead. So in conclusion, the emotional strain on children linked to conditional love, narcissistic abuse, and parental alienation is profound. Recognizing the harmful effects of these toxic relationships is the first step to breaking free and reclaiming one's self-worth and independence. The daunting but essential journey towards reclaiming one's autonomy and self-worth is one of self-discovery, introspection, and boundary setting. Healing from the wounds inflicted by years of emotional manipulation and neglect requires an unraveling of long-held feelings of insecurity, the establishment of some healthy limits, and the discovery of one's true self outside the pressure of others' expectations. Understanding that the love and validation you seek from narcissistic parents may never be yours is the first step to emotional freedom. It's about letting go of those unrealistic expectations and fully embracing your authentic self, independent of the narratives your parents have created. The road to healing from the trauma of narcissistic parenting can be a bumpy ride, paved with self-compassion, the guidance of experienced mental health professionals, and a supportive community of individuals who understand the complexities of such relationships. It involves prioritizing self-care and embracing the imperfections that make us uniquely human. Reclaiming one's voice and autonomy after years of emotional suppression is a revolutionary act of self-love. It is a declaration to the world that our worth is not contingent on the approval of others, especially those who are incapable of extending genuine love and empathy. Surviving the tyranny of narcissistic parenting is a testament to the resilience of the human spirit and the power of self-love to transcend the traumas of the past. By acknowledging the burdens imposed by narcissistic parenting and embarking on a path of healing and self-acceptance, the individual can break free from the chains of approval and reclaim their authentic selves. In the end, the true measure of success is not in pleasing others, but in honoring our own values, desires, and dreams. Remember, you are worthy of love, acceptance, and validation simply for being who you are. Let go of the burden of pleasing others and embrace the freedom of living life on your own terms. Thank you for taking the time to listen to this segment today. All my professional information is up on the screen. Please contact me if I can answer any questions for you, or if I may be of assistance to you in any other way. Have a wonderful day.
Next week on Families Divided TV, Susan Schofer and Dr. Lynn Steinberg discuss preparing to win in family court.